Human, I see you noticing my unusual feature. Care to explain? The hum of the reactor was Lena Voss's heartbeat. Deep in the guts of New Dawn, the human Lumora mining colony orbiting Zephyr 9, she crouched beside a tangle of cables, her tablet blinking red. The core was acting up again, spiking energy like it had a mind of its own. At 23, Lena was the youngest engineer on the crew, but she learned to trust her gut. Something was wrong, and it wasn't just a loose wire. "Lena, you done daydreaming down there?" barked Foreman Ruiz over the comms. His voice crackled through the static of the moon's dense crust. "Clyron's waiting in the council chamber. Wants a status report. Now, tell the crystal boss I'm elbows deep in his precious reactor," Lena muttered, wiping sweat from her brow. The Lumora overseer, Clyron, wasn't her favorite person, or alien. His kind, with their shimmering, crystalline bodies, always seemed to look through humans, not at them. Still, she couldn't ignore the summons. The colony's survival depended on keeping the Lumora happy. They controlled the tech that kept New Dawn's air breathable. She sealed the panel and jogged through the steel corridors, her boots clanging against the grated floor. The colony was a patchwork of human grit and Lumora elegance, grimy human-built tunnels fused with glowing crystal spires. Outside, Zephyr 9's violet storms churned, visible through reinforced viewports. Lena loved the view, even if it reminded her how fragile their foothold was. The council chamber was packed when she arrived. Human miners in jumpsuits sat opposite Lumora delegates, their faceted bodies refracting light like living prisms. Clyron stood at the head, his form a towering mosaic of blue and gold. Lena's eyes caught something odd, a flicker deep in his chest, like a trapped star pulsing erratically. Was he angry? Nervous? The Lumora didn't share much about their biology, and Lena's curiosity itched. "Engineer Voss." Clyron's voice resonated, deep and melodic, like wind through glass. "Your team was tasked with stabilizing the reactor. Yet I hear of delays." Lena squared her shoulders, ignoring Ruiz's glare. "It's not a delay, Overseer. The core's outputting weird readings, high-frequency pulses we can't trace. I need more time to figure out why." A murmur rippled through the Lumora. One of them, a sharp-edged delegate named Voorhees, leaned forward. "Human incompetence risks us all. Perhaps we should replace your team with our own." Lena's cheeks burned, but she kept her tone steady. "With respect, Voorhees, your tech's great, but it's our wiring keeping this place humming. I'll find the problem." Clyron's flicker pulsed brighter, and Lena swore it matched the rhythm of her own racing pulse. "Very well," he said. "You have one cycle, 12 hours. Fail, and we reassess the partnership." Back in the reactor bay, Lena worked alone, her tablet hooked to the core's diagnostics. The readings were gibberish, energy spikes that didn't match any known pattern. She traced a conduit to the moon's crust, where the reactor tapped geothermal veins. That's when she saw it, a faint glow, not from the reactor, but from the rock itself. She chipped away with a vibro tool, revealing a metallic shard embedded in the stone. It hummed, warm to the touch, etched with symbols she couldn't read. "What are you?" Lena whispered, pocketing the shard. Her comm buzzed. "Ruiz," demanding her back at base. She hesitated, then hid the shard in her toolkit. Whatever it wasn't human or Lumora tech. It felt older. Hours later, the reactor's hum turned to a screech. Alarms blared as Lena sprinted to the control room. The core was overloading, threatening to vent plasma into the colony. Ruiz was shouting orders, but the human crew froze, overwhelmed. Across the room, Clyron and Voorhees watched, their crystals dim with judgment. Lena didn't think, she acted. She rerouted power through auxiliary grids, using her tablet to bypass fried circuits. Her fingers flew, rewriting code on the fly. "Come on, you stubborn beast," she muttered. The screech faded, and the core stabilized. The room exhaled. Ruiz clapped her shoulder. "Nice work, kid. But Lena's eyes were on Clyron. His flicker was steady now, almost warm. Did he approve? Or was he hiding something? That was resourceful, Clyron said, stepping closer. Up close, his crystals shimmered like a frozen sea. But the cause remains unknown. What did you find in the crust? Lena's hand brushed her toolkit, where the shard hid. Lie, and she'd protect her discovery. Tell the truth and risk the Lumora seizing it. Her curiosity won. I found something. Metal. Glowing. Buried deep. It's not ours. Clyron's flicker flared, and Voorhees hissed. Impossible. The moon is ours. No relics exist here. Then explain this. Lena held up the shard, its glow pulsing in her palm. The room went silent. Clyron's crystals darkened, and for the first time, Lena saw fear in an alien's form. This changes everything, Clyron said. You should not have touched it. Before Lena could ask why, the ground shook. A deep rumble echoed from the crust, and the reactor's alarms screamed again. Whatever she'd found, it wasn't just a curiosity. It was alive. The colony's alarms wailed like a wounded beast, and Lena Voss clutched the glowing shard tighter as she ran toward the reactor bay. The ground trembled beneath her boots, each quake rattling the steel corridors of New Dawn. Whatever she pulled from the moon's crust wasn't just a relic. It was awake, and it was angry. Her tablet buzzed with frantic messages from Foreman Ruiz. Cores spiking again. Get here now. Lena's gut twisted. She'd saved the reactor once today. But this felt bigger, like the moon itself was fighting back. In the bay, chaos reigned. Human engineers scrambled at consoles, their faces lit by flickering screens. The reactor's core pulsed erratically. It hummed now a guttural roar. Ruiz waved her over, sweat beading on his brow. Lena, what'd you do? This started the second you showed that thing. He pointed at the shard in her hand, its violet glow casting eerie shadows. I didn't do anything. Lena snapped, shoving the shard into her pocket. It was buried down there, minding its own business, until the reactor started acting up. She elbowed past him to a diagnostic station, her fingers flying over the controls. The readings were worse than before, energy surges looping in patterns that looked almost deliberate. Before she could dig deeper, a crystalline chime cut through the noise. Clyron entered, his towering form scattering light across the room. His chest flickered, not with the warm pulse Lena had seen earlier, but with jagged, stormy flashes. Behind him, Voorhees and two other Lumora delegates loomed, their facets sharp and cold. The air thickened with distrust. Engineer Voss, Clyron said, his voice tight. That object you hold is dangerous. It does not belong to your kind. Surrender it. Lena's hand hovered over her pocket. Every instinct screamed to keep the shard close. It was a puzzle, a key to something bigger. Dangerous how? You didn't even know it was here until I found it. Voorhees stepped forward, his crystals glinting like knives. It is forbidden, a remnant of a time best forgotten. Your meddling threatens us all. Then help me understand, Lena shot back. If this thing's causing the quakes, we need to figure out why, not fight over it. She glanced at Clyron, hoping for an ally. His flicker softened, just for a moment, but Voorhees' glare silenced him. The argument was cut short by a new alarm, shrill and piercing. Ruiz cursed. Air filters are down. Pressure's dropping in the east wing. Lena's stomach sank. Without filters, the colony's air would turn toxic in hours, choked by Zephyr 9's methane-heavy atmosphere. She didn't wait for orders. Grabbing her toolkit, she sprinted to the filtration hub, Ruiz and a few engineers trailing. Clyron followed, his long strides eerily silent. The hub was a mess. Pipes ruptured, control panels sparking. Lena knelt by the main filter unit, her heart racing. The damage wasn't random. Someone had sliced the conduits clean through. Sabotage, she muttered, tracing the cuts. They were too precise for an accident, too deep for human tools. Her eyes flicked to Clyron, but his flicker was steady now, almost mournful. "Who'd do this?" Rudes growled. "We're all stuck here together." Lena didn't answer. She was already ripping apart a broken panel, salvaging wires and plates. Her mind raced, piecing together a fix. "We've got scrap in the yard, old drone parts, maybe some tubing. We can rig a bypass, keep the air flowing until we rebuild." Ruse blinked. "With scrap? You're nuts." "Got a better idea." Lena grinned, already moving. She rallied the crew, barking orders like she'd been born for it. They dragged in rusted drone casings and stripped pipes from non-essential systems. Lena's hands moved on autopilot, welding and wiring, her mind half on the shard's glow in her pocket. It felt warmer now, like it was watching her. Clyron observed, silent but close. When she struggled with a heavy casing, he lifted it effortlessly, his crystals brushing her arm. The contact sent a jolt through her, not pain, but something alive, like static with a pulse. "You work fast," he said, almost curious. "Humans don't quit," Lena replied, tightening a bolt. "We improvise." By the time they finished, the bypass hummed, pumping clean air into the colony. The crew cheered, but Lena's relief was short-lived. Back in her bunk, she pulled out the shard, its symbols shimmering under her lamp. She'd rigged a scanner from spare parts, and now it hummed, decoding faint signals. Words flickered on her tablet. Balance, restore, harmony. Alien words, but they stirred something in her. Hope, maybe. A knock startled her. Clyron stood at her door, alone. His flicker was dim, almost vulnerable. "I must speak with you," he said, "about the relic." Lena hesitated, then nodded, letting him in. Her bunk was cramped, littered with tools and coffee cups, a human mess against his pristine glow. "What's the big secret?" she asked, holding the shard up. "Why's Voorhees so scared?" Clyron's crystals shifted, casting blue light across her walls. "It is a terraformer, from a time when my people tried to reshape worlds. It failed, destroyed entire moons. We buried it to forget our shame." Lena's breath caught. A terraformer could save New Dawn, make the moon livable, not just a mining pit. Then why hide it? "We could use it." "It is unstable," Clyron said, "and not all the Mora wish to see it used. There are others. The Shatterkin. They believe humans taint this moon, our sacred ground. They would destroy the relic, and you, before allowing its power to rise." Lena's grip tightened on the shard. "Sabotage. The filters. That was them." Clyron nodded. "I fear they know you hold it." Before she could respond, her comm crackled. Ruiz's voice was panicked. "Lena, east wings breached. Something's moving in the tunnels." The shard pulsed, hot in her hand. Lena met Clyron's gaze, his flicker blazing now. "Guess we're out of time," she said, grabbing her gear. Whatever was coming, she wasn't giving up. Not on the shard. Not on New Dawn. Lena's boots pounded the corridor as she raced toward the east wing, the shard's heat pulsing in her pocket like a second heartbeat. The colony's alarm screeched, red lights stroding across the walls. Clyron kept pace beside her, his crystalline form casting jagged shadows. Ruiz's warning echoed in her head. Something's moving in the tunnels. The Shatterkin, it had to be. Lena's mind spun, piecing together the sabotage, the shard, and Clyron's cryptic words about a forbidden terraformer. Whatever was happening, she wasn't letting New Dawn fall without a fight. The East Wing was a wreck when they arrived. Sparks rained from torn conduits, and a jagged hole gaped in the outer hull, exposing the tunnel network below. Zephyr 9's violet storms churned outside, their glow eerie through the breach. Ruiz and a handful of engineers stood guard, clutching welders like weapons. "Lena," Ruiz shouted, pointing at the hole. "Heard scraping down there. Metal on rock. Ain't one of us." Lena peered into the darkness, her flashlight catching glints of crystal. Not Clyron's warm blue gold, but a sickly green, sharp and fractured. Shatterkin. Clyron confirmed, his chest flickering with tight, rapid pulses. They've come for the relic. Then they're not getting it, Lena said, checking her toolkit. She had a vibro cutter, some wiring, and her tablet. Hardly an arsenal, but humans had made do with less. She turned to Ruse. We need to seal the breach before they flood the wing. Can you get drones from the yard? Ruse hesitated, glancing at the hole. Drones are for mining, not fighting. They're for whatever we need. Lena snapped. Repurpose the shields. Rig 'em to block the tunnel. Move. Her tone left no room for doubt, and Ruse nodded, rallying the crew. Clyron watched, his flicker steadying. You command with ease, he said, almost curious. Someone's gotta. Lena muttered, already sketching a plan on her tablet. She sent specs to the crew, turning mining drones into makeshift barriers. Her hand shook, not from fear, but from the shard's heat, now almost burning through her jumpsuit. It was reacting to something, maybe the Shatterkin. As the crew hauled drones into place, a low hum rose from the tunnels, like glass grinding glass. Shadows moved below, green crystals glinting. Lena's comm crackled. Ruse, frantic. They're cutting through. Drones won't hold long. Lena cursed, then grabbed Clyron's arm. His surface was cool, alive with faint vibrations. You said the shard's a terraformer. Can it do anything? Like now. Clyron's flicker flared, uncertain. It requires resonance, a harmony of intent. My people once used rituals to align with it. But I am no elder. Great, Lena said, dragging him toward a quiet corner. Then we fake it. Tell me how it works. The hum grew louder. Clyron hesitated, then knelt, pulling a small crystal from his belt. It glowed faintly, like a shard of himself. Place the relic here, he said, gesturing to the floor. Lena obeyed, setting the shard beside his crystal. Its violet light pulsed in sync with Clyron's flicker, and the air seemed to hum. Join me, Clyron said, his voice softer now. Touch the relic. Feel its rhythm. Lena's fingers brushed the shard, warm and thrumming. She closed her eyes, mimicking Clyron's slow breaths. Her mind flooded with images, green valleys, alien skies, a moon alive with color. The shard wasn't just tech, it was memory, hope. Her pulse slowed, matching its beat, and Clyron's flicker warmed, wrapping her in light. It listens, he whispered. Ask it to shield us. Shield us, Lena said, her voice steady. Keep New Dawn safe. The shard flared, and a low pulse rippled through the floor, shaking dust from the ceiling. The hum in the tunnels faltered, then stopped. Silence fell, heavy and strange. Lena opened her eyes. The shard was dim now, its heat gone. Clyron's flicker was bright, almost proud. You resonated, he said, surprised. A human. Before Lena could grin, Ruiz's shout broke the moment. They're back, and pissed. The drones buckled as green crystals surged upward, led by a Lumora whose facets were cracked and jagged. The Shatterkin leader. Lena grabbed the shard, stuffing it into her pocket. Plan B, she told Clyron, sprinting to the drones. She rewired a shield unit, boosting its output to stun, not block. The crew followed her lead, turning tools into weapons. When the Shatterkin charged, Lena triggered the shield, sending a pulse that knocked them back. The leader snarled, its green light flare. The reactor's scream drowned out everything, a death knell echoing through New Dawn's steel bones. Lena Voss sprinted toward the core, the shard scorching her pocket like a tiny sun. Clyron matched her stride, his crystalline flicker blazing with a fierce, steady light she hadn't seen before. The colony was crumbling, air thinning, walls shaking, and the Shatterkin were still out there, waiting to strike. Lena's mind raced, but one thought anchored her. Humans don't give up, and she wasn't about to start now. In the reactor bay, chaos swallowed hope. Consoles sparked, screens flickered with red warnings, and Foreman Ruiz wrestled with a jammed valve, his face streaked with grime. "Lena," he yelled. "Core's past critical. We've got minutes before it blows." The crew scrambled, but panic dulled their edge. Across the room, a few Lumor engineers stood frozen, their crystals dim with fear. Lena didn't hesitate. She shoved her tablet into Ruiz's hands, shouting, "Reroute what's left of the aux power. Buy me time." Then she turned to Clyron, grabbing his arm. His surface thrummed under her touch, alive with energy. "That resonance thing we did, can it calm the shard? Make it help us?" Clyron's flicker pulsed, uncertain but willing. "It may amplify the relic's power, but without control, it could destroy us." "Then we control it," Lena said, her voice steel. She pulled the shard from her pocket, its violet glow blinding now, pulsing in time with the reactor's groans. "Show me." They knelt in the chaos, the shard between them on the grimy floor. Clyron placed his crystal beside it, its blue light mingling with the shard's fire. "Focus," he said, his voice cutting through the noise. "Feel its purpose." Lena closed her eyes, her hand on the shard, Clyron's fingers brushing hers. The contact sparked something. Warmth, not just from the relic, but from him, like a current linking them. Her mind filled with visions again. Rivers carving stone, skies blooming with color, a moon reborn. The shard wasn't destruction. It was creation, waiting for someone to guide it. "Stabilize," Lena whispered, pouring her will into it. "Save this place." The shard hummed, its heat softening, and a low pulse rippled outward, quieting the reactor's roar for a fleeting second. But the moment shattered. The screech tore through the bay as green crystals burst from a side tunnel. Shatterkin, led by their jagged leader. Voorhees was with them, his facets black with betrayal. "The relic is ours," he bellowed, lunging for Lena. Clyron moved faster, shoving her aside. His crystals flared, blocking Voorhees's strike, but the Shatterkin swarmed, slashing at consoles. Lena scrambled up, clutching the shard. "Ruiz," she yelled. "Drones, now." The crew snapped into action, repurposing the last mining drones into a barricade. Lena rewired one on the fly, its laser cutting a warning arc that forced the Shatterkin back. "We can't fight and fix the core," Ruiz shouted, dodging a crystal shard. "Then we do both," Lena growled. She handed Clyron the shard, a leap of trust she didn't question. "Keep it safe. I've got an idea." She dove for a wrecked console, ripping out its guts. The reactor needed a vent, a way to bleed off energy without exploding. She spliced wires, her hand steady despite the chaos, and linked the core to the colony's geothermal taps, buried deep in the moon. Clyron stood over her, fending off Shatterkin with bursts of crystalline light. His flicker was a beacon, warm and fierce, and Lena felt it in her bones, a rhythm tying them together. "The relic responds to you," he called. "It trusts you." "Then let's not disappoint it," Lena said, slamming the console shut. She grabbed the shard back, its glow now a steady pulse. Together, now. They knelt again, hands joined over the relic, and Lena poured everything into it. Every scrap-together fix, every sleepless night, every spark of human stubbornness. "Fix this moon," she said. "Make it home." The shard erupted, not in fire, but in light, soft, golden, spreading like dawn. The reactor's scream faded, its core stabilizing as energy flowed into the crust, not out. The ground quaked, but not with destruction. Lena's tablet pinged, showing impossible readings, oxygen levels rising, soil shifting, life waking beneath the rock. The Shatterkin froze, their green light faltering. Voorhees snarled, but Clyron stepped forward, his flicker a challenge. "This is our home, all of us. Stand down." His voice carried a weight Lena hadn't heard before, and the Shatterkin hesitated. Their leader lunged, but the crew was ready, drones pinning him down. Voorhees flowed into the tunnels, his betrayal exposed. Silence settled, heavy with awe. Lena stood, the shard cool in her hand, its light dim but alive. Ruse stared at her, then laughed. "You're insane, Voss. Saved us with a rock." "Not just a rock," Clyron said, his flicker warm as sunlight. He gestured to a viewport. Outside, Zephyr 9's storms parted, revealing the moon's surface, cracked but green, with vines curling from the crust. The terraformer had worked, waking a world. Lena met Clyron's gaze, her chest tight with something new. Pride, maybe, or connection. "We're not done," she said. "This moon's got secrets left." Clyron's crystals glowed, a smile in his light. "Then we uncover them. Together." As the crew cheered, Lena felt the shard pulse once, like a promise. New Dawn wasn't just surviving, it was thriving, and she'd lit the spark.